Hi everyone! Today I'm here with another review. This time it is on Stealing Time by KJ Waters. I won this book in a giveaway and I just recently finished it. So I was supposed to do a review on Goodreads, but then I decided that I have quite a few thoughts, so I decided to do a video review on it as well. So this book starts with a storm, Charlie, which happened in 2004. Ronnie, the main character, and her boyfriend are in the lab to try and save themselves. During this storm, Ronnie finds herself back in the past in 18th century London, and now she is being accused of witchcraft. I struggled to give it a rating, so it's somewhere in between 2 and 3 stars. And I'm going to try and explain my thoughts on it. This book on the back is described as a fast-paced time travel thriller. I completely disagree with it. First of all, it is not fast-paced at all. I found it very, very slow because the whole book, it is the first book from the trilogy. The first book is literally just about her being accused of being a witch. That's it. It doesn't go further than that, almost. I read on Goodreads, many people loved this book and they found it very fast-paced. I don't know how. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know, but I really didn't find it fast-paced at all. And it is definitely not a thriller in my mind. Definitely not. The thing that I liked about this book is that it starts with a prologue in which the storm is already happening, so it just started straight away and there wasn't any slow beginning. And also Ronnie went to the past quickly as well in the first 20 or 30 pages. The narration moves from Ronnie, the main character who went to the past, to her friend Steph, who's trying to save her life in the storm, during the storm. Steph's chapters would be a lot shorter and there are a lot less of them than Ronnie's chapters. And at first I really liked it, so we kind of knew what's happening in both times. But then it started irritating me a bit because Steph's chapters wouldn't give you much information. They would just be dragged and they felt out of place for some reason. There would be almost nothing. I don't know, it felt really like they didn't belong there, that they weren't necessary. And also what irritated me from time to time as well is that one of the Ronnie's chapters would end on a cliffhanger and the things started to pick up and I was really hooked, and then the next chapter is about Steph and that slowed down everything for me again. And so I wasn't that excited to continue reading about Ronnie after that because I already, lost my interest in it. Now, speaking of the past setting, it was, like I said, happening in the 18th century and I thought it would be one of those romantic representations of the past. But this one wasn't anything like it. I guess it was more real. It portrayed the 18th century in a much more real way, I think. But that is a disadvantage to me. I am personally a fan of those books in which the past are portrayed like something romantic, something interesting, something, that sort of thing. And this one, there's nothing like that, and I think that the author could have mentioned 1 or 2 good things that happened in the past. Instead, she only concentrates on the negative, bad things that happened in the past. But at the same time, it was really interesting to learn more about it because I found it interesting to see what the doctors believed and what the people believed at the time, how the medicine was at that time, the bloodletting and what instruments they used, blood stained and stuff like that. That was really horrible. And also she describes how they didn't wash themselves, how the hygiene was terrible, that they didn't have toilets and things like that. It wasn't really pleasant to read, but I guess it is realistic. That's probably what really happened in the 18th century, but not for my taste. Whilst reading this book, I often found myself thinking about how people really lived in the past, how they dealt with everything. She's not only going to the past and what's happening there. There's also one thing added in there which makes it more intriguing and more interesting, and you want to find out why it is like that, but it is not answered. At least not in the first book. It might be explained later in the books. Now, the things that I didn't like about the book. So, like I said, I would have probably enjoyed it more if it was a standalone and not a trilogy, because I feel like the story is just dragged. And at one hand, I'm interested in what's going to happen in the next books because it's quite a good premise, I think, although I'm not sure, especially considering that the storm ended in the first book. I just don't know what's going to happen in the second and third books, but I'm probably not going to pick them up anyway. Another bad thing, if you've watched several of my videos, you would know that I just don't like slang and swearing in books. It puts me off and it is very unpleasant for me to read. And in this book, you'll find a lot of it, especially the main character. And the thing that irritated me the most, she's in the 18th century. No one uses slang words or swear, they're being very polite. And a normal person would try to be polite as well in these circumstances. Anyone would stop swearing and stop using a lot of slang because it's just a polite way of doing that, and naturally it would just stop using those words. But she didn't, and she just showed that she's a very, very bad-mannered person. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the main character at all. Speaking of the characters, I didn't really like any of them, especially one of the characters. I just hated him so much. He's supposed to be very unlikable, but actually reading about him made me not want to pick this book up again, and I struggled to pick it up because he was just so horrible and I hated him so much. One of the characters were really nice. I think his name is Matthias, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce the name as usual. He was really kind and nice and almost like a perfect man, and he is actually the reason why I'm more interested in the second and third books. I'm really interested about what's going to happen to him. Also, there are some violence moments in this book, not a lot, and they're not detailed, but still, those moments made it unpleasant to read this book. Also, there are so many misprints and missing punctuation in this book. I'm not even sure how it was published. Some of the things made me angry in this book, especially some of the things that characters said or the things that they did. It just made me so angry because some of them were just not realistic and too cheesy or something like that. So overall, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. There are quite a few high ratings for this book on Goodreads and Amazon. People seem to like it. A lot of 5-4-star ratings and only 2 or 3 2-star and 3-star ratings. So I'm in the minority. I don't know why. And I struggled with the rating, to be honest, because sometimes I would be enjoying some moments in the book, sometimes it would just be irritating me or just be boring. I would want to just be done with it. And I think that this book should definitely have been shorter, and it shouldn't be a trilogy in my mind. It should be just a standalone. I would have enjoyed it so much more because some of the things could just be cut out or just went a bit faster. This book took me a month to read it. But like I said, many people enjoyed this book a lot, and so if it sounds like something interesting to you, you might enjoy it a lot more than I did. There were just quite a few things that I didn't like about this book, and I just felt it was dragged a lot, unnecessary moments. It wasn't a romantic, typical time travel book, and a lot of slang that puts me off. So I liked the concept of the book, the idea of it, and I'm happy now that I'm done with this book. Although I feel really bad for posting a negative review because I was really thankful to get this book from a giveaway, to win it on a giveaway. But I am just being honest. If you read this book or have heard of it, planning to read it or not planning to read, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Bye!